Yo, what is going on, y'all? Welcome into Cardinalytics, an Arizona Cardinals podcast hosted by fans for the fans here on another Football Friday. Got my two guys with me, Shad, Jake. How are y'all feeling today? Big day, big pod yesterday. I mean, last pod, I should say. You guys obviously welcomed in the return of the King, Kyler Murray, but we're obviously now 2 days into his ramp up process. He's looking well. But how are you guys feeling as well?
I'm feeling good. I'm ready for the weekend to be here. Like I was telling y'all earlier, I'm taking a little trip this weekend, hanging out with the fam up in the mountains, down here in Blue Ridge. So just enjoying myself, bro, and obviously glad that Kyler's back. Yeah, y'all can follow me on Twitter at big_shot11.
Yeah, I'm not up in the mountains, but I'm definitely still excited for the weekend. Hyped about Kyler being back, and yeah, ready to get into it tonight with these guys.
Yes, sir. So obviously, we got our Seattle preview this week. Got them coming up on the schedule. Quick look back for both teams. Obviously, for the Cardinals, we'll start with them. They're coming off probably their worst performance overall as a team. And again, that kind of like came off. It's like first half offense was bad, second half defense was bad. I didn't get to really recap this with you guys, but first half offense was bad, second half defense was bad. And then and then the whole game, the offense was bad. They couldn't complete any shots down the field. They kind of moved the ball slightly, but not to the point where they were scoring touchdowns. And it was kind of one of the first games we saw them really have true red zone problems and true problems getting it into the end zone. But I think obviously they come off of that 26-9 loss, where in a game that the score does not indicate how close the game kind of was in a sense, and it was kind of really so much so 3 drives in the second half for the Rams that kind of took that game over and kind of ended it for the Cardinals. So again, another game that was pretty close for the Cardinals to be in, but they did come off of the loss. Seattle as well lost last week as well to the Cincinnati Bengals on the road. 17-13 contest, real low scoring, but the Bengals defense were able to put a little bit of the clamps on the Seattle offense, who's been pretty good this season to start. Obviously, Ken Walker, we'll start with him. I think when we previewing the game, one of the best young running backs in the NFL. He's been able to be a guy that can put the ball into the end zone. He has a couple touchdowns this season. Really able to produce for them. And then obviously Geno Smith is continuing his play from last year. It's something that a lot of people never expected. A lot of people didn't think that was going to happen. And so far he's continuing it this year. Their offensive line has surprisingly been better than what a lot of people thought they would be. And that has helped them, get to the record that they're at right now. And they have 2 losses, obviously, on the season to the Rams, who we just lost to as well, when they got surprised by Puka. And then last week against the Cincinnati Bengals, where they couldn't kind of score the ball as much as they have been. But all 3 other games they've played so far, they've been pretty successful in terms of scoring. So let's start, obviously, with them on offense. I just went into that. For us on defense, it was not pretty last week. You boys know this. I'm not going to – don't want to keep harping on how nasty that offense was. But at the end of the day, I should say how nasty that defense was. But at the end of the day, the first half, they did play well. They as much as the scouting report easily said, you can pass on these guys and you can pass at will. The defense early on was sticky. And then I would say that the pass rush got there and they were kind of stopping whatever the Rams wanted to do passing wise. And as soon as they decided to run the ball, this is the first week we kind of really got gashed. And so I'm definitely interested to see how Seattle approaches this. But like, what are you guys thinking, Shaw? I guess we can start with you. Like, this week was kind of, like I said, the first week that we got gashed on the ground. And coming into a game where you're obviously facing a little bit of a better running back this week in Ken Walker and an offensive line, like I said, it has been playing well. Plus, they have the threat of the passing game. Like, what are you thinking about for us defensively this week?
I'm not gonna lie. I remember last year Kenneth Walker like demolishing us. I think that was like towards the end of the season. And I mean, they got to make an emphasis to stop the run. Because like you said, like against the Rams, first half they did all right. They were like, doing well with rushing the passer, but the Rams didn't even really try running the ball. And when they did try running the ball, which I don't know if y'all noticed, not to really talk too much about the Rams, but I don't know if y'all noticed, but like, there a lot of the run stuff that they've been doing this year has been very similar to like San Fran, and with like the motions before every snap and the misdirections and stuff like that. So they was able to run the ball like against us in the second half, and we couldn't do nothing about it. And Seattle's definitely gonna try to do the same thing. I mean, why wouldn't they? Like we just got abused on the ground. Like, so I feel like they're gonna come in the game, try to establish the run. And if we can't stop that, then again, we don't have no shot. We don't have no shot, like, winning the game if we can't stop the run. And they supposed to be without DK. I think DK is probably not gonna play. Jackson Smith, he ain't been doing nothing lately. Tyler Lockett, he always cook us, or better yet, he always cooks Patrick Peterson.
Shit, he
but
cooked us. He was cooking us the last couple of years too. Still, so
he always cooks. I don't know what it is with the Cardinals, but I feel like shifty receivers like Lockett, Ayuk, they always like get off against us.
fair shame.
But yeah, so I mean, they'll just have Kenny Walker. Shoot, Charbonnet might not play, so they'll have Kenny Walker. They'll have DK. I mean, they won't have DK, but they'll have Tyler Lockett and JSN. But JSN hasn't really been doing nothing this year. So I don't know. It just starts with stopping the run. Like, if they can't do that, then it's gonna be a long night.
What about you, Jake? Obviously, defense last week was not a pretty sight. I already know that you know that. So how are you feeling coming in this week for the defense?
I was gonna say I really can't even talk about that game last week anymore. Just a bad game. That was like our worst game, honestly, like by far, like all the way up and down. But coming into this week, I feel very excited about Buddha probably gonna be making his return. Corey, I mean, I'm solely basing that take off of you. I've seen you on Twitter many times over the last couple of days saying he's not missing this game, like going back to Washington. So I'm relying on you. I'm taking so that's what I'm holding on to. But I think getting your captain back on defense, like the real leader of the team, I'm excited to watch him, obviously, and Kazir White kind of team up, see what those guys can do, and just kind of give a spark back to the defense. I also didn't realize that DK was doubtful, so I think that's massive, especially for Cardinals spread bettors. I think it's important to note. But no, that's huge. Obviously, Lockett in the past, you guys mentioned, has burnt us for many, many years, but he's been a little quieter this year, I think. And Jackson Smith he's got a long way to go. I think a lot of people were very high on him, including myself, coming in, and he's been very vanilla, right? Like nothing, almost like the Mac Jones of receivers, if that is like a decent comp. Like he's just like, he just doesn't really do much. So I'm not worried about it at all. Honestly, I feel pretty good. I mean, the only worry really is Ken Walker. That'd be great if Charbonnet is out. Put more of the load on Walker, and hopefully we can kind of stuff him early. And I mean, if they ride him from early in the game, late in the game, they could have issues there, just in terms of just his energy levels and just being worn down. So yeah, having DK out is massive, and us having Buddha back in on the defensive side is equally as important. So I feel pretty good, optimistic about the defense this week. Like to get back on track on that side of the ball.
Yeah, I agree with your point.
I just want to point out too, like, last week when they played against the Bengals, they were not scoring in the red zone. Like every time they got to the red zone, like they just weren't coming away with points. I think they had like 5 trips to the red zone. They only scored 10 points, so they only got a field goal and a touchdown basically. So that was 3 empty opportunities. So like if we can hold in the red zone, like we've seen this team do, play bend but don't break defense, that'll definitely help.
Yeah, I was going to say I definitely love his point about Kazir White and Buddha Baker playing with each other, because the last time we saw that was week 1. Obviously, I was at that game, and we saw how much that defense was flying around and how active they were in terms of the secondary, albeit they had both starting safeties, but they still had, Buddha Baker out there making plays, Kazir White making plays on the lower end and kind of having that high-low option on defense. So, I also want to see, the only other point I would say about defense before we switch over to offense is, like, I'm trying to see, like, I would have thought Garrett would have been back by now. It's kind of like, what are we doing? But obviously you don't want to push people that they probably said, I heard somebody say, like, they probably already had a plan for him. Like, he was already going to miss X amount of games when he came back off the NFI. So I was like, it's cool, but obviously, like, that's a hole right now. It'd be great to just, get an extra body out there, because if Barco or Kitro struggles again, like, And with especially no Hamilton out there this time, you'll see people like probably Bobby Price out there who made that play on special teams, but like you don't really want that guy playing corner versus, you know, Tyler Lockett and even JSN at this point, and if DK does play. So, and just the Seattle and how they work offensively, who have, like I said, their concepts have been pretty well ran in the last 2 years. So I would love to see Garrett Williams out there. I'm not going to rush him, obviously, but I would love to see him play, because if Marco struggles yet again, I would love to just see another body go out there to try to defend somebody. And maybe they can switch up the defensive coverages, how they play on defense with a guy like Garrett out there. So it'll be interesting. Our defense versus their offense, just because I feel like we're due for a bounce back game. Like we're due for a game opportunity where we can see how this defense can match up against another offense. I think last week was good until it wasn't good, until if they would have played with, you know, the 17-3 or 17-6 lead that they should have been playing with, it would have been real interesting to see how much they would have been better, because they wouldn't have been gashed on the ground like that. So it'll, like I said, slow down and run. We already knew this though, but then you also want to just make sure that, you know, you're getting pressure on Geno Smith and you're limiting that pass game, because I want to start seeing the pass game shrink to where it was week 1, where the Sam Howell couldn't really do anything, and Daniel Jones for a half couldn't do anything. Like that's where I want to see this defense get back to. But switching over to the offense, obviously, shitty week last week, shitty week. Jake, I'll let you start. Offensively coming into this game, I mean, like, where's your head at? Like, where's your head at? Obviously, my biggest takeaway of this game, I'm not even really like worried about what we'll do on offense, because like we're missing James Conner. Like I just saw Elijah Wilkinson's on the what's it called, the injury report. So I mean that's the starting guard, but if he doesn't play, obviously he's not a big loss. But that's still the continuity of what they've been dealing with, stuff like that. So like, where's your head at? Because to me, Josh Dobbs, I'm so curious on where his mindset is right now, because that boy is on his back. That boy is on his back, and if that boy gets any, you know, if he improves rapidly, Josh Dobbs, you're, you know, welcome. Come sit back down on that bench for me, brother. But like for you, like offensively, where are you coming into this week and seeing how they could possibly perform?
Yeah, no, I definitely share similar sentiment to kind of what you just said about Dobbs. I actually think Kyler might be able to come back next week. And that being said, I think Dobbs is playing for his life this week. Obviously, he's been in the league 6. I think this is either his 6th or 7th year. He's about to get benched. It's a foregone conclusion. He's touched on it. Everyone's touched on it. It's whenever Kyler does decide like he's good to go, Dobbs sits down on the bench. So that being said, I'm hoping to see Dobbs come out with just a little bit more passion and juice this week. And I don't know, maybe it's just the optimistic, long-time tortured Cardinals fan in me, but I'm hoping he might surprise us and get back to what he was doing the first few weeks. I was actually watching a little fantasy video today, and people are really high on Hollywood this week. So I'd love to see that. I mean, obviously, he kind of got a touchdown take last week with Dobbs throwing the ball out of bounds.
2 touchdowns taken away from him.
Right. So there you go. 2 touchdowns. I know Rondale Moore was open for another one. Yeah, let's hope Dobbs can just kind of, for lack of better words, just get his head out of his ass and start playing loose again, a little bit more freely, start putting some air under the ball again, especially with that backfield that we have right now, which is kind of a joke. But yeah, I mean, honestly, there's not a lot of concrete points that I could give you right now, which is like in terms of being like, I feel really good about X, Y, and Z. It's kind of just like, I hope Dobbs comes a bit more juiced. I hope Hollywood is able to make some plays, maybe decide to throw the ball to Michael Wilson more than one time per game over the last 2, like in competitive time. But yeah, besides that, like maybe get McBride going a little bit. Ertz, I think, is cashed. And like I said, backfield is kind of a joke. So, yeah, that's really all I can kind of give you there.
Real quick shout out for you, go. I just want to shout out Mikey in the chat. I see you. Appreciate you for coming through. But yeah, I definitely, I agree with your points on all of that. And Shad, obviously, offensively, we talked about it's a big point of the quarterback, and like I said, how he's playing. And I mentioned to you a couple I think maybe 2 weeks ago after that one game where he threw the interceptions, I was like, "Is the flood coming?" And so far, it's continued. It's continued to open up. It has not been patched up yet. Like, do you see him patching this up? And because again, this guy is you so far you put yourself back on the map as a quarterback. Like you put yourself
Yeah.
back on the map as a person that could earn a job if a team opens up a position for you and stuff like that. So his play needs to continue to be good. It doesn't matter like whoever's behind him. His play needs to be continue to be good because if it's not, he'll continue to go back into his journeyman backup role. When he's so
Yeah.
far, he's improved already the likes and I should say his appeal in the NFL. So do you think he can get back to that this week? Are we thinking that offensively we can wake up a little bit?
I think we can. I'm optimistic for the most part going into every week. But honestly, I think Dobbs needs to keep doing what he's doing. Obviously play a little bit better, make some of those throws. But last week I feel like a lot of that was also like on the line. And like I don't think DJ Humphries I know he's getting older and like, he's what maybe on his like 10th or 11th year with the team. But like, dude, you're a leader on the team. Like, you can't have consecutive bad games, not like that. And I don't know who you're going up against this week, like Mario Edwards and some other people. Like, you shouldn't have consecutive bad games, not like that.
Yeah,
so
they got some guys on their D line that actually have played pretty well. That Taylor dude, Mafe. So those guys have actually, I was gonna say, so those guys have actually been has the thing that he struggles with, athletic and powerful, like and so if they drop him back, that'll be annoying.
That's true, but like you just can't have consecutive bad games. You're supposed to be a captain. He is a captain on the team. Like, like you got to have a bounce back game.
He smiles too much for me. I didn't mean to cut you off, but he just smiles around the locker room too much for me for a guy that's playing so bad.
DJ,
who's that?
DJ,
yeah. Like I'm always watching the interviews, and he's always like trying to crack a joke, and he's smiling. And yeah, you can be optimistic, but I need you to play a little bit better if you want to be able to do that. Like the people that are playing good, y'all be happy for yourselves. All that stuff, but like, no, come on, let's get ready.
I think it starts with like him in the line, and that in turn will make Dobbs look a little bit better. But honestly, like I think this is probably the best secondary that we've been played against like all year. Like Witherspoon and Woolen, like they looking like they're top 3 cornerback duo in the league. Quandre Diggs is obviously a really good safety, and then they got Jamal Adams back, who I know a lot of people feel on Jamal, but like I think he's pretty good. Obviously he's not like a free safety, but playing down in the box, like making tackles, making plays in the run game, like he's good there. So it's gonna be a tough task. It's gonna be a tough task for us to move the ball, especially if we can't run the ball, because like I don't really see Michael Wilson having a good game, especially after like, last week I thought they tried to get him more involved and it was a prime opportunity to do that, but they didn't make it, they didn't make it a priority. And this week going up against like I said, Witherspoon and Woolen, like I don't know, like it's gonna be tough for him just to go out there and get separation against those guys. Like Hollywood, at least he got some speed on him. But no, I didn't know that people, Jake. I didn't know that people were high on Hollywood this week in terms of fantasy, because like to me, it doesn't really seem like a prime. It doesn't seem like a good spot personally to me. So we're just gonna have to hope that we can be able to run the ball and that the line can hold up when we do have to pass the ball and play ahead of the sticks. You know what I'm saying? Like we can't have any negative plays, especially like early on drives. Because they just kill the drive off rip. Like when we start off a drive, we're on our own 20 and it's our own 25, and like we get a penalty, and next thing you know, it's like 1st and 15 or 1st and 20. That's it. Like we're not making that up unless Josh Dobbs like makes a play with his legs or something like that.
I'm interested to see if Spoon has played in the slot more this year. So like we don't have a slot guy right now. Like Mike is on one side, Hollywood's on the other side. So like does whoever doesn't get that Woolen matchup, like do they get a chance to get the ball? Because I don't know who's on the outside corner. I think
they still got don't they still have Kobe
Bryant?
Yeah.
Yeah. They might have him. That definitely might be who it actually is. So
no, he's on IR. He's on IR.
He's on IR. I feel like the name Mike Jackson is coming to me for some reason, and I don't know why.
Yeah, he's
I
on their
just
team. Yeah, he's on
I
their
feel like
team.
that. I feel like that name is just the person that it is. So
Mhm.
that's my key. If you're in the past game, that's my key number one. I'm attacking Mike Jackson. I'm going
Yeah.
to whoever has Mike Jackson. If you have to move Hollywood around, because they'll probably have willing travel with Hollywood. I wouldn't see why not. Like that could be their scheme, and he likes to take on that challenge. But um, this has to be a Mike Wilson game. It has to be. You have if you want to air the ball out, you have to attack whoever on the outside corner. Opposite of Woolen if they play Spoon in the slot. So
You guys
obviously, like, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
said you guys know how Chase and Higgins fared last week against Seattle?
Well, T. Higgins
Oh, I
had
know
4
Chase.
fantasy points, so I
I
know he
know
didn't do
Chase.
shit.
I know
Uh,
Chase had a decent game, but when he was matched up against Witherspoon, it wasn't good.
And at the
so they,
same time,
they
Higgins was I think Higgins was still hurt with his ribs or
yeah,
something
Yeah,
like that.
Higgins had a
So
bad game.
more like a decoy. Wait,
yeah,
so they were
decoy player.
covering Chase.
Mhm.
So maybe that's why the analysts are thinking if Hollywood just kind of like if they throw him on either
Move
side,
around. Mm-hmm.
which
Yeah.
maybe that's where his opportunities are going to come.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also, too, obviously, I'm sure
Mhm.
you guys saw McBride has kind of like as of last game like took over like tight end one responsibilities over Ertz, which I
And he
think
went to
that
the depth chart too. They went to tight end one on the depth chart too.
oh
Oh, they
shit.
did? Oh,
I
wow.
feel like I saw that.
All
Let me
right,
confirm.
you got to ship.
I kinda have like I guess maybe like a different take on that because I feel like me personally, like, we've seen Ertz with Kyler. I mean, we haven't really seen McBride with Kyler.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that they have that chemistry. And I know Ertz has been, he's been basically a shell of himself to
Mm-hmm.
start the season. But I kind of think that when Kyler gets back in the fold, I think Ertz's game is going to kind of pick up a little bit more. I
I
do.
also say like building off that point. I mean, like thinking back too. So like obviously Ertz has had a lot of bad drops this year. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but they've all been like outstretched types of
Yeah.
passes. Tyler's more of like a dot thrower. So maybe Ertz is just a body catcher because obviously we know what he can do after the
Mm-hmm.
catch. Um,
Yeah.
so obviously, I mean, and obviously last week too, like the pick that went off Ertz's hand was about 2 yards behind him.
Yeah, it's
So
just a horrible throw. Yeah, it's a
horrible,
terrible throw.
horrible.
Yeah.
He had like 3 other open options. So
Mhm.
um, yeah, maybe otherwise try to ship him for like a sixth, like seventh, something. I don't
Oh
know.
yeah, I mean, like if they could get something for him, like honestly, at this point, it's like get whatever you can for. If you're trying to move off of him, like I mean, I love Ertz, but like shoot, I'll take whatever for him,
Yeah,
because we
Mm-hmm.
do have McBride. Like,
Yeah, so I was at so Zach Ertz is still number one on the depth chart, so not yet. They've
okay.
just been a person
actually,
trolling me, which what I saw. So but yeah, so Zach Ertz is still number one on that tight end depth chart. So he'll probably marching out there. But Trey McBride, I think did get more snaps last week. He did play a little bit more. So obviously, um, I want them to transition because I want the draft pick. I don't want Zach Ertz anymore. You already cost my brother Jake more money than anybody can ask, and
Yeah,
you
yeah,
made me
that's true
mad
too.
because you
That's true
dropped a
too.
touchdown when
Yeah,
I was watching you play too. So
dude.
it's sayonara. Anytime we talk about Zach Ertz, I'll be pushing him to the door. I should say that. So, but I mean, obviously, I definitely agree with both of your points about how this team needs to be operating this week, and obviously we have our score prediction time coming up. Um, this will be a good one. I don't again like we're in a situation where you want to pick the team obviously, but like you just know like shit might happen. Shit is hitting the fan, and I'm not seeing a chance for Josh Dobbs to transform. Like unless that offensive line plays well and they embrace the role of going on the road as road dogs, and we'll see what happens when it comes to Garrett Williams as an addition to the team. But if rolling out there with what we're rolling out there with on offense, I should say or defense, I should say, it'll be a tough time to stop Seattle. It's even without DK. So I personally have it 25-21 Seahawks. But again, another close game for the Cardinals. But I'd much appreciate it if if we have a team where a game where I should say where we kind of slow them down a little bit and kind of have a ball control type of game that they played last week, but one that's in our favor. So see my brother Jake dropped out. He'll probably come back in here. But Shad, go ahead and give your score prediction. How you feeling about the
it's
game?
fun. It's fun, real quick before you said that, or before I say that, Mike in the chat, he said Trey McBride needs to be tight end number one. Hey, I don't think any of us really disagree with you on that. Like, you
Yep.
know, like, yeah. But in terms of my score prediction, I was kind of on the same board as you, Corey. Like, and when you said your score, I think you just said what, 25-21? In my
Yeah.
head, I was thinking it's probably gonna be like 24-20. Like, I could see
Mm.
us getting 20 points this game, but then again, I can see us, coming down to the wire, not making plays. Dobbs does his usual, like, trying to win us the game, and either he fumbles or he makes a bad throw or something like that. Like, but I don't know. I guess in terms of winning this game, like I just really don't see it this week.
Mm.
My mind is already looking towards next week with, Kyler coming. I think Kyler's gonna come back next week. And if he
Mm.
doesn't, whatever that is, I guess it'll be against Cleveland.
Mm.
We play Baltimore next week, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so against Cleveland. So that's what I'm looking forward to. And honestly, like if we don't win another game until then, like that's cool with me. Like it's okay, like because brighter days are coming.
Yes, sir. Jake, how you feeling about this game? Your score prediction and just what you think? Do you think the Cardinals will be victorious this week? I should say.
Yeah. I'm gonna say Buddha coming back, Kyler practicing, looking like he's coming back soon. I mean, I've said it to you guys off the show, but I think the Cardinals can finish 8-3. I think we can grab wild card spot at 9-8. That's got to start this week though. So
Okay.
I'm hoping that we can get some motivational boosts from those two guys returning to the practice field, and hopefully Buddha playing, Kyler come back next week. Like I said too, I think the story of the week is going to be a motivated Josh Dobbs to either prove that to other teams or just to make a case for himself to stay as like a long term backup for us. He's got to go out and play well this week. So, and then obviously I think DK being out too is massive.
Mm.
So I'm gonna say I'm gonna go 21-18 Arizona.
Let's go.
My pick of the week is Cardinals plus 8.5. For anyone watching, that's
We got to get back on our spread. We were supposed to be undefeated at one point, and then we just lost 2 in a row now. So really, no wait, we lost 3 in a row now because San Fran, Cincinnati, and so we're back to even. Yeah, we need to get back on the train.
Yeah, we're 500. 8.5's a lock. And I think the Cardinals money line's like plus 310. I think that's I feel really good about this week. Like I said, we got to go 8-3 the rest of the way. So I'm giving us the dub here, 21-18. Book it, and we'll see Kyler Murray next week. That's all there is to it.
Hey man, it would be a big win for JG and them to go into Seattle and win that game this week. Like that'd be huge. Road
Yep.
opponent or division opponent on the road. You know what I'm saying? Like it's probably gonna be weather's probably gonna be a little chilly up there. Like who knows? It might be raining because it's Seattle.
Mhm.
So yeah, that'd be
Funny you
big.
said that. I definitely checked that just now because I was just trying to see what type of additions it'll be, but
Mhm.
partly cloudy. Partly sunny, 60 degrees.
Perfect.
Okay,
So
that's
it'll
straight.
be solid at game time. I mean, yeah, same game time, 1 p.m. out there, so about 58 degrees or so. So, yeah, we definitely it'll be a clear day for both teams. Both teams will be obviously locked in. So Mikey in the chat, obviously he got his choice prediction as well. I think Cardinals keep it close, but the Seahawks win Seattle 27, Cardinals 20, and he
Yeah,
also
That's
says
still
that
covering.
he sees Kyler coming back against Atlanta. So that would be in about 2 weeks or so from this week. So, or about, what should I say,
Yeah,
3
3
weeks?
weeks.
Because we have Cleveland
Yeah.
after Baltimore. So, I hope it's not that long. Shit. But
I
because I'm
also
ready to see something else. But yeah.
I also think our 21-18 win is going to come from a defensive score, whether it be
Okay.
pick six, fumble, special teams, recovery, or a safety. I think defense has got something to prove this week.
Hey,
Like that. I like
Gino's
that.
been a little shaky with that with the ball lately, so
Mhm.
I can see that.
Mhm.
Old Gino.
Yep. Last, before we get out of here, obviously, as I mentioned before, last podcast, you guys talked about Kyler's return and how great that just felt. Literally on that day, we had the podcast, and you could just see, like we all mentioned, a rejuvenated team. Kind of the juices, as JG have said, were flowing and have been flowing at practice much more since those two guys have been back. So, and obviously today was a little bit of a bigger day. Kind of was throwing routes to the main team, I think I should say. And Izzy Wolford, quarterbacks coach, kind of had an interview or had a presser today, and he mentioned that Kyler Murray has been taking some reps with the first team, but he's been mostly with the second team, preparing against the first team, right? And I know that first team defense is getting carved the fuck up. Oh my God, I know they're getting carved the fuck up in practice, but at the same time, that is a good thing for him in my eyes, because to me, like, you're getting reps against ones. And at this point, these are either 7s or 11s. So you're getting in the motion of running the plays that you need to be running and where the ball needs to go and about stuff, instead of just those first maybe day or two kind of where like just, pitch and catch, get your feet under you. Like, and we saw him talking about footwork with Driscoll literally 2 days before they cut him, which is crazy. So, but at the same time, like, he was talking footwork with Driscoll those first couple of days and just getting pitch and catch. But today was kind of here, Marquise, go down the field. Let me throw you a ball. And was perfectly on stride. Here, practice squad receiver. Let me throw you a rope across the middle of the field and in a play set. And so far, like we mentioned, or like Izzy mentioned, he's been running with the second team offense, running plays and stuff like that. So to me, Mikey, I know you mentioned Atlanta, but that's a quick little that's starting to ramp up a little bit quicker. Obviously, you want them to have more snaps with Yelda Froholt and stuff like that. But to me, they've probably been doing that the last 2 weeks in my estimation, and they've been doing stuff like that as legally as possible, to the point where like he's getting those reps and stuff like that, and he's getting an emotion of the offense. And this guy's a smart guy. He's a world-class chess player. Like the dude literally goes out there, puts stuff about chess. Like, that's a mental game. Like this, his IQ is beyond itself. People just think that he just doesn't care about it, but his IQ is beyond himself. So I believe that he's picking up the offense much faster. And to me, what we saw today in practice kind of shows that, because they're, escalating him a little bit quicker than, what I mean, at the same time, because like 2 days of practice, you're not, I mean, at the same time, you should be practice squatting all the time if he's, in whatever state that that a lot of people want to say he's in. But he's sitting out there running with the twos against the first team offense. So, I mean, first team defense. So, how are you all feeling about the ramp up process? Are you liking it? Are you thinking that possibly he's on a little bit more of a quicker trajectory? I know, Shaw, you just mentioned about the Ravens game, so you probably do. But how are y'all feeling about that?
Jake, you can go ahead.
Yeah, well, no, I'm definitely feeling real good about it. I think it's great that he's throwing the twos, going against the ones. So hopefully when he comes back and starts rolling with the ones, it's going to feel even easier to him. But I think beyond that, like, we've seen videos that he's posted even months back, like sprinting with weights on his back, all these sorts of like crazy exercises and stuff. And I think a big thing for him too was just getting back to like 100%, not rushing back, come back at like 70, 80. Like, I think he really wants to be full go. And that's also part of the reason why, like I said, call me crazy. You guys might think I'm nuts. Like, anyone else listening might think I'm nuts, but this guy could go and honestly like put like string wins together under this coaching staff, in this personnel, and just kind of like with the guy make the most of the guys around him. But beyond all that, like, Corey, you talked about like the mental aspect, like him playing chess and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's fired up to win. Like, he's fired up to go and just like succeed. All the hate that we see, like, this guy sees subliminal messages that he's like put out there. That TikTok video that he posted about how bad he misses the game. Corey, you saw it firsthand. Like, he's telling you as a fan, like, he's coming back ASAP. Like, the stuff Hollywood said. He tweeted the other day, like, I'm practicing. Like, this guy's fired up and he's definitely pissed off. And I'm just excited to see, how that goes, where that goes. I think we have some exciting football ahead.
Yeah, I mean, bro, I agree with everything. Like, first off, I think that he's definitely on the fast track. Like, and I do think that we'll see him sooner than later. Like, I honestly think that we'll probably see him next week. And if Dobbs doesn't look good at all, like, I mean, you might as well just roll him out there. Like, you might as well throw Kyler out there, because he looks like he's throwing the ball well. And honestly, like, to me, I feel like him throwing the ball, like, he was throwing the ball all off season. Even though he was hurt, he was still throwing the ball. So like that, like, I know he's not going to be really as rusty as that. Decision making, and then obviously you can't really simulate game pressure. what did Mikey say? He says he believes in Kyler and believes he'll be our quarterback for a long time. Hey, yeah, he's
Hell yeah.
coming back with a vengeance for sure. like we
Yep.
all know that. You know what I'm saying? Like we see him, like Jake mentioned, like we see the TikToks, we see the tweets, we see, you know, how he kind of moves on social media. And it's like we know he sees all the stuff that people are saying. And we know that he wants to prove all of them wrong. But back to kind of like him being ready, like I feel like the most difficult part is probably just like, you know, simulating like actual game pressure. And it's like, okay, somebody's running at you in your face, like you got to maneuver out the way. And mentally, like that's probably like the biggest hurdle. I would imagine for a guy like him, especially because like, you know, if the line breaks down and it's like, you know, all right, I had my ACL injury, like, you know, I don't want to necessarily do too much. You might be thinking about all types of stuff. And that's the worst thing that we need from Kyler is for him to be coming out there thinking about too much. You know what I'm saying? Like when he comes back, he just needs to be playing football free, and not thinking about anything, not thinking about his knee, not thinking about getting hit, you know, because it's football, it's gonna happen, you know what I'm saying? But like we just don't need him to have like those thoughts. And that's really the biggest hurdle I feel like for
Mm-hmm.
him. And I mean, I'm not worried about him throwing the ball. Like he's gonna come out there and he's gonna be able to sling it. But
Yeah.
running the ball, you know, that's the biggest thing.
That's all right.
Yeah, I was saying like I don't know, it might be a little troll or whatever it is, but like get like a padded like dummy or whatever the case may be, and just toss him at him. Like put it like I don't know, put a helmet on it, put them shoulder pads on it, and stuff like that, and just throw him at him. Like literally, like have him run around and just throw it at him. Somebody have him like throw it as hard as possible, like and
Yeah.
just get them used to like having things like to me that's that like you mentioned, but you got to get used to having things falling around your legs, like because
Right.
I obviously with that ACL, like you don't want somebody to bend your knee because literally that's probably the only way it'll go out like give out again or something like that. If somebody bends it in a certain way or as modern medicine, obviously those ligaments become stronger now when you break them and stuff like that. So or tear them. So now it would take somebody like really like physically messing up with that leg. So you just have to get used to things diving around your leg because like those feet will get pushed back and like obviously like we know him to be a shotgun quarterback, so he's kind of back there already a little bit. But when you're under center, obviously you're in the trees, you're in the middle of anything that could happen when the play starts. So like just like I agree with you 100% that mental aspect of just like all right, well, you know, I'm just go out here and do my thing. Like I really
Yeah.
tip like, and it's crazy to say something like this, but like I just wanted to be like, all right, if I get hurt again, I get hurt again, because like at the end of the day, you're playing for your own NFL life in terms of like not get hurt again. Like I'm gonna risk my body, like I'm just gonna go out there, but just like if something happens like that again, I'm just gonna have to live with it and have to work my way back again because again, you've gone through 25 plus years of not having that happen to you. So
Yeah.
you getting used to doing that, like you got to be able to just get back to how you've been the first 25 years of your life, and that's play free, play loose as possible, play Kyler Murray football, and that's escaping the pocket when it's closing up and dotting the guy on the corner or chucking the ball 40 yards down the field on a rope to the receiver down the field and scoring a touchdown. So, and even so, making a play in the open field with his legs as well. So,
Mhm.
I Baltimore next week will be highly interesting. I can't lie to you. I mean, that's a tough defense. They generate a lot of pressure so far this season, so I don't know. And then Cleveland also the same thing, tough defense, great secondary, generate a lot of pressure. Miles Garrett second Kyler Murray before he's back. I don't know. But if he does go out there, he's a baller. I'll tell you that. And at the end of the day, if he goes out there, he's going to shut up a lot of people, regardless of win or
Mhm.
loss, because he's going out there and he's proving a lot of people wrong about him coming back. And I do think he can have success against those guys. It just comes down to how does the overall team aspect play? Because as we talked about before with Kyler, it's not always on him. It is. He needs to improve, but this is a team game and team aspect, and it's not always on him. So people seem to always want to put it on him versus certain other guys get the team failed on the team did this, and that's what they'll need is the team to step up this week. As not this week, but when he gets there as well, because he's relying on them to keep him whole. Because that's the name of the game is keeping him whole. Your job is to keep him whole, and so he can supplement y'all and help y'all win as well. So
Yeah.
definitely interested for my guy. It just feels good to just talk Kyler Murray, and we're not, week 12 just talking about Kyler. We're week 7 talking about Kyler, where he could possibly come back and we can see him for another 2 months. So definitely dope. Definitely dope.
Yeah, I'm just ready to see the guy make some plays, man. I'm ready.
Mhm,
I'm so ready.
for sure. So I mean, obviously that'll be for the preview today. I mean, we all had our score predictions. We all came out talking about our collar. So obviously we'll catch you all Tuesday for the recap of the game versus Seattle. I'm lagging real bad, but it's all good because we're out of here. You guys have anything else for today?
Nah, man. Just as always, rooting for Cardinals win this Sunday.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Jake, anything for you for we head out?
No, I think that about covers it. I mean, I was just thinking about it. I think I would love to see Kyler back next week, but definitely, I think gun to my head, probably more likely going to be Cleveland, but we'll see. Here's the hoping.
Either team would be great to see because obviously that's elite play, and you get to go against elite play to start your your ramp up process. So
yeah,
appreciate y'all coming through on the pod, Mikey SMEC, y'all coming out there. Appreciate you coming through the live, and we will catch y'all Tuesday for the recap.
Peace.